Hey, this is Blake Moynes from season 16 of The Bachelorette, and you're watching the Bros Ceremony.
This is the Bros Ceremony,
Your journey's about to begin.
recapping the week that was in Bachelor Nation and previewing what's to come in the next episode with some special betting odds.
Everyone can't wait to find out what happens next week.
Here are your hosts, Michael the Hound Dog Harrison and Adam Scully.
Will you accept this rose?
Will you accept this rose?
Will you accept this rose?
We are 10 toes in the ground and ready to give everything. Welcome inside episode 6 of the Bros Ceremony podcast. Adam Scully alongside Michael the Hound Dog Harrison. Michael, I'm not sure if you got that reference from Matt James, but we are one episode in. Initial thoughts out of the gate.
That reference, I was like very much taken aback by that. He said that? He did say 10 toes. Because then I was thinking, initially I thought he was saying fingers. And I thought he said 10 fingers. I'm like, no, it's 8 fingers and 2 thumbs. But no, it was just toes. So yeah, now I remember that reference. That was a particularly peculiar expression, wouldn't you say?
Definitely peculiar. Try saying that 10 times fast. But that came after a very vulnerable chat with his mom out of the gates. There was a lot to unpack from this episode before we do. Thank you for all the feedback and reaction from our Bachelor preview edition. We did go maybe a little longer than we thought we would. A little extravaganza, if you will. We made our Bachelor picks. We'll discuss those a little later in the show. I got to say, though, we'll save this a little later. I was going to call you brilliant, but I'll tease your brilliance until a little later in the program. But, Matt James, a lot of positive reaction on social media from him.
Well, that's because, like you said, Adam, he's very, very vulnerable. As we heard it, like the first 5 minutes of the episode with his mother, in a totally normal conversation that you would absolutely have with someone. Son, what was the last time you were vulnerable? It's just so funny. I wonder why Bachelor loves that word so much. It is a tremendous word, and I love talking about it all the time. But that's obviously not a natural word to say to someone. Son, when was the last time you were vulnerable? It just comes across as so phony in stage, which obviously the show mostly is. Let's be real. But it's just so weird. I love it so much. But he was very vulnerable, as he said. Seemed like honestly seemed like a really, really good stand-up dude. He seemed like a great guy. And I think this season should be pretty good. And I know you're telling me that you think after this episode, like you were saying, this episode was amazing.
You know what? I was texting you. I was not spoiling anything.
Thank God for once you didn't spoil anything.
Having said that, I was giving you some teasers, and I sent you a text saying you will be crying of laughter 5 minutes into the episode. Now, I watched it on a slight delay. I watched it about 45 minutes later, and off the start of the episode, a young lady happens to walk through holding a vibrator.
Yes,
that was a bit of a tease. I've never quite seen that before. What were your thoughts on that?
I thought that was absolutely easy for me to say. Take 2, a hilarious entrance for the show. Whatever. I think she's going to actually do pretty well. I think that was a good way to get some interesting attention right away from him. And I think she was a pretty cool girl. What an awesome move, though. It's so funny how they all were reacting so weirdly to it. Like, God, like what do we do? I don't blame them for that. But she made a comment at some point in the episode, and I was like, wait, excuse me, what? And I would love to know the women who are watching our program, the Bros Ceremony, their thoughts on this. Please do go into intricate, maybe not that, but please let us know. She said in the episode, what was her name again?
Katie.
Katie, yes. I would let my roommate use my my vibrator. That's what she said in the episode. And I was like, excuse me? What? Is that a thing that women actually do? That just seems really, really offside and creepy. But she said it. I didn't say it. She said it. So it was really weird. But she's pretty funny.
Especially in this day, with COVID and germs, but still, that's
COVID.
Another
before COVID. What are we talking about here? I know it's probably for the TV, and she was just saying that. I'm assuming she's not actually being serious here, but it just seemed creepy.
Yeah, we'll get into Katie a little later because that's how the episode started, at least on my TV anyway. I'm not sure if I had some weird feed, but then dissolved right
I think they did they not preview. Well, for me, they previewed like 5 or 6 women before they came out of the limo, as they always do. And I think she might not have been one of those women.
I'll have to show you. Like, it was right off the start of the episode. It was 6 seconds, and then this season on The Bachelor, it was like,
oh well, you know what?
wow.
I fast forward that little initial thing because it's like I don't want to see what's in the episode, so I always fast forward that part. So yeah, I guess I didn't see it.
Well, and getting back to Matt James, we spoke about this a little in episode 5, our special Bachelor preview edition of the Bro Ceremony. Not sure if you know, but Matt works out.
Yeah, I think. Oh, all those shirtless shots with the water cascading down his body. Beautiful, beautiful shots. Very, very natural, of course. You obviously would, in front of a bunch of cameras, be showering like that. It's so funny. That honestly, I was crying of laughter with that. However, I would like to take a little bit of umbrage with your thought about me crying of laughter throughout the episode and how amazing it was and such. I actually thought it was an okay premiere, not amazing.
What?
Yeah,
What?
I did. Sue me. I didn't think it was incredible. It was good. Don't get me wrong. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Of course, obviously, you're going to continue to watch. Didn't think it was as dynamic. You built it. This is why it wasn't a spoiler what you said when you were like, "Oh, it's going to be so amazing." But this may be why whenever someone says anything like that, it can maybe it can lead the witness, so to speak. And now I was like, "Oh, expecting this incredible, gargantuan, scintillating, invigorating." I'm trying to think of all these amazing words, Brobdingnagian words that it would be so amazing and incredible. And it was pretty good, but I didn't think it was outstandingly incredible. I don't think.
Well, as our viewers go through their thesaurus and dictionary.com to just decide what the hell you just said and all those big words, I thought it was pretty good, but I guess that's what makes good discussion. If we just say, yeah, I agree with you, it'd be a 4-minute podcast, and then we'd go on and talk about God knows what.
And here I can then call you an idiot for your thoughts, and we can call each other idiots, and we can rip each other apart and be extremely mean to each other. Mm-hmm. That's what this is about, isn't it?
No, it's about being vulnerable and being honest with each other. Now, as we get back into, how about the hotel and the golf course cutaway shots? I was like, let's go right now.
I know. I didn't. Maybe that's why I was taken away from the show. I was like, I don't care about the show right now. I just want to go golfing in that course. That like amazing. Holy crap! Perhaps I can go golfing there with a woman we're going to talk about, Abigail, because she likes to go golfing, as it said on her profile.
It sure did. And they showed a couple of girls in that preview. We'll get into them. But, as we've discussed at length, we want to be best friends with Chris Uncle Harrison. He is your uncle, so you're related to him. I mean, it might be kind of weird to be uncles with your best friends with your uncle, but not surprised at all. The immediate bromance between Matt and Uncle Harrison. It's just 2 peas in a pod there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. They had a good conversation off the top of the episode as well. Matt did genuinely seem a little bit nervous, which is, I kind of like that because he is completely new to the Bachelor franchise. Mm-hmm. That he did seem to have actually did seem to be a bit vulnerable, as opposed to actually just talking about that word, which was interesting. Yeah, him and Uncle Harrison, they got on like a house on fire. However, I still think Ed last season and Chris Harrison had even more smoldering chemistry, if I would say. But yeah, I know Matt seemed like a really good guy, like I said, and him and Chris Harrison are going to be besties forever, I think.
And it was nice. I mean, I'm sure it was obviously quite scripted, but that Matt said, you know what, man, before the limo comes, I'd love to sit down and I have a couple questions for you. And Uncle Harrison said, sure, no problem. And one of the lines that really stuck out to me from Matt, he said, my wall. Oh, what did I say there? Guard down, wall. Oh,
you can't read your own writing?
No, it didn't. I wrote some elaborate notes. It didn't quite make. Anyway, what I'm trying to say in 45 seconds to make it 2 seconds, he's done running. He's going to let his guard down, his wall down, and he's ready for love.
And was he probably? I'm assuming he probably was running during those shots.
No, he was sitting. They were sitting in those incredibly extravagant chairs.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why it's so funny. You mentioned how obviously, like, it clearly was, they decided to do that beforehand. It's like, oh man, yeah, let's have a talk. Let's go to this place where the chairs are set up perfectly and the cameras are just happen to be right there. Oh my, it's incredible how it all unbelievably works out so well. It's a shocker.
And once the ladies started to come on the scene and arrive to meet Matt for the first time. We mentioned this before. I don't think I've ever seen a more nervous Bachelor. What do you think?
Ooh, that'd be interesting. I've only seen maybe the last 10 seasons, 10 years of shows, which is crazy how quickly the time has flown. But I couldn't even. He definitely seemed quite. Yeah, you're right. A bit bashful, a bit shy, as it were. But that's, like I said, that's what's kind of cool. I actually like that, as opposed to someone brash and cocky immediately and just thinking they're the greatest person or whatever. I think he seemed a really, really cool guy, like a legitimately stand-up guy. There's been other guys in the past, like Juan Pablo and some of these men that women did not like, as they shouldn't, because they seemed like they were actually legitimately were jerks. This guy, it's only been one episode, of course, but he does seem like a really, really good guy, which is cool, which is pretty neat.
And I don't know about you, but unless all the ladies are quite short, is Matt 7'5"?
That's a good point. He definitely is towering over them. And one of the things actually I thought was funny, like obviously he meets them all, as we'll get into this in intricate detail with all of them. But as he met all of them, there's a few of them that they would just like walk past him as they were going into the mansion. And they couldn't have been like 3 feet away from him. And did you notice a couple of times he was making commentary about them? Like he was like, "Oh man, like she's amazing."
Oh damn,
like,
yeah.
Like, oh crap, like you man, I'm blown away already. It's like she's right there. She's 3 feet away. I mean, that's a good thing. At least if he was saying horrible things about them, well then that'd be worse. But like he was making commentary about the woman he just saw, who's 3 feet away from him, walking away. I just thought it was really, really weird. I was like, "What's happening right now?" I loved it.
Yeah, he's a bold guy. You have to be bold to be the Bachelor. And speaking of bold, there were some bold lines, bold moves, bold selections, bold ways of the ladies arriving on the scene. Serena C nearly eating it, nearly falling. That was something. And how about Alana, Toronto's own Alana, bringing the spaghetti, the 2N, little smoochy smooch. What'd you think of that?
That's an interesting move. Not as good as the move as she wasn't the same woman who did the meatball, was it? Or no, what?
No, that was someone else.
Okay, I was gonna say that move was hilarious because would she say something like, "I want my balls in your mouth," something like that?
Ileana said, "Can I put your balls in my hands?"
No, I thought she said, I thought she said, "I want to put my balls in your mouth," which was weird because that was why it was funny, because it was her meatball. Yeah, for sure she said that. I think. I'm not 100%. I'm almost certain she said that. People online, please tell us who's right, who's wrong on this one. Clearly, there's a winner. I'm pretty sure it's me. I think she did say, yeah. She said, "I want to put my balls in your mouth," that was the funny on double entendre of it, because it's like, wait a minute, what? That's why it was funny. And either way, but yeah, to your original question, the move with the spaghetti meatballs, that's a cute, funny little way of introducing yourself. I liked it.
And someone else, I can't remember her name. I didn't have her name written down, brought Matt a gift, and it was a red flag. I thought that was pretty funny.
Pretty good. Why for when they all introduce themselves, there's maybe like 6 to 8 that have like these either grand entrances or weird gifts or weird costumes or whatever. And then there's 24, 22 of them that are just normally themselves. Like I wonder, does the show basically pick, okay, this is the character we want to have with a ridiculous outfit or a ridiculous gift? Or is it simply all to do with them? Because I know in the past, way back in the day, when Survivor used to have luxury items for their contestants, after a while, after like season 1 or 2, they controlled what luxury items they brought. The production team, controlled what luxury items they brought, which makes me think, Bachelor, do they control some of these things, that these gifts that these women give? Because I don't understand why they all aren't. They all don't all participate in the ridiculous gifts and so on and so forth.
I think it would have to be some sort of combination between the producers and the contestants. We'll have to ask our next guests, who will come on our show at some point, about how that all goes down. I'm sure there's some sort of discussion, or a producer says, "Hey, I saw this in your likes and interests. What are your thoughts on this?" Or they just force them to do it. I don't know. But another one, I'm not sure if the producers forced Kylie to walk in the way she did, wearing, and not so much. She shows up wearing lingerie, walking with a bit like a clothes, like a dress hanger wheelie thing. I'm sure there's a better way to put that. But I gotta say, the line was pretty good. She said, I have 2 dresses. I need some help picking them out, picking what I should wear.
That's pretty good. Although I would be like, oh no, if I were asked that, I'd be like, I can't even dress myself up. Although you would not necessarily think of it this, as you can see.
Stop. We'll hold the phone. Okay, let's talk about your outfit for a second. You look like, as someone later said in the Bachelor episode, you look like a 5-course meal right now, not just a snack. That jacket,
excuse me,
that jacket, the hair's looking a little better today, as we mentioned before.
Thank you. Yeah, so it implies I looked horrible before. Thank you. I love you too.
Actually, you yourself said what is.
I'm allowed to say that, but you're not allowed to say that, meanie face.
That's true. But I must say, the jacket, strong combo. Now, if you were, we'll get back into Matt James and the ladies momentarily, but if you were the Bachelor, I've seen a couple of your jackets, couple of your suits. Would this be the go-to? Would it be the blue? Would it be a black? What would be your suit selection of choice?
It probably would be the blue one. I think it was the very first time I wore a jacket on this podcast. That one. The reason it might not be this one is if we were taping and it was after September, there's some stupid common rules, which I am breaking right now, which is so dumb. Oh, you can't wear light colors after September. Who decided on that crap? I never understood why it's like, oh no, you're not allowed to wear this clothing for. I don't even know I know the September's the cutoff point where you can't wear allegedly light clothing. But when does it start again? March, April? When is the month when you're allowed? Why is my clothing confined to a 5 to 6 month time frame? That's ridiculous. So I said, you know what? Screw that. Screw the haters. I'm gonna wear this suit right now because I want to, because I love the suit. I think it looks really nice.
Was it beige? Okay, I know the expression is you can't wear white after Labor Day. You're not supposed to wear white after Labor Day.
That's so dumb.
I didn't think beige was involved with that.
I'm pretty sure it's light colors. I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to wear any light colors. Okay, so say it is. I think I'm pretty sure I'm writing this, but I could be wrong.
I'll look. Good,
yeah. But even if it's just white, say it is white. Why? Well, I guess you'd be breaking the rules as well with your white shirt right now, Adam. Who decided this? Who is the one who is like, no, you're not allowed to wear white after September? I would love to have that kind of power. Predictions for who had that kind of power to say that? I have no idea. Oh, it looked like you had an answer here for us.
I'm trying to read some late 19th century. Okay, here we go. The you can't wear white after Labor Day rule was created to separate the old money elitists from the new money group, yada, yada, yada. What I'm saying is you look good. Keep wearing that. I'm sure we could do a little more elaborate research, but
No. That's as good amount of research as I want to see, because that just sounds stupid. It's like, oh, I'm elite and you're not, so you can't wear. Just get out of here with that crap, man. I want to wear whatever I want to wear. Screw you. This is 2021. New year, same me.
New year, same Michael. As we get back to the ladies, another bold entrance was from MJ, who showed up as a pizza delivery woman. She opened the car door, swung around. Matt seemed pretty enthused, and the door was locked. You hate to see that.
Guaranteed the show obviously locked that door on her just to make for some for comedy. MJ has awesome hair, right? Is that correct? She is like, yes. She's blonde. I think her hair is. I don't. What do I know about hair? Clearly, I don't, because my hair's been awful for all these episodes.
It's great now though.
Well, it's better, but I think her hair was amazing. I thought it was really cool. But yeah, that entrance with the pizza, that's awesome. Who doesn't love pizza? If you don't love that entrance, I'm sorry. I'd be like, bye bye.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And pizza is a great thing. I'd love to have some pizza right now. I'm sure those watching on YouTube, whether you're in New Zealand or you're in Guadalajara watching us on the Bros ceremony here, hopefully you're enjoying a nice, delicious za. But the last lady to walk in, no better segue to do that. The last lady to walk in, save the best for last, Queen Victoria. Where to begin? Has this elaborate entrance, and then she nearly falls.
I love her already, Adam. I think the entrance was hilarious. So many people are already hating her online. I want her gone. Some people even said she's gross. Screw her. She's drama. Blah 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 blah. It's like, that's exactly why you want her on the show. There are so many morons who watch not just this show, other shows, they're like, oh, I want the most interesting person gone. No, you want her to stay. You want Queen Victoria on the show. She's ridiculous. She's not going to win. Of course, when in the rose ceremony, we'll get to that later, she was the last person. Of course, she got the final round, obviously. She's great TV, and she came in hot. If you call yourself the queen, you have to come in and have a presence, and she did that. The reason I mention that is because I don't know if our viewers watch other reality shows like I do, like Big Brother a couple of years ago. There's a woman who was on the show, and she nicknamed herself Rockstar, and she was extremely boring. She came on the show, did nothing pretty much the entire season, was a really, really bad player. It's like, you can't come into the show, call yourself Rockstar, and then do nothing. So at least with Queen Victoria, she came onto the show and immediately guns a-blazing, great TV, good stuff. You want her to stay. Do not tell me you want her gone. You don't. You clearly need her in the show because she's entertainment. There's several other women. I don't even know their names because they did nothing that episode. This woman, Queen Victoria, did a whole lot. She's great. I hope she stays to like the final 6 or 8, something like that.
For those who can't tell, Michael Harrison, big fan of Queen Victoria on the show.
I'm not even necessarily even a fan of her per se, because she doesn't seem like the nicest of a person, obviously. But just the entertainment factor is amazing. Like it's just too good. She's great.
Mm-hmm. Well, as we move on here, so now all the ladies are inside waiting for Matt to arrive, and he does. And good for him with his beliefs. They do a group prayer, and that certainly resulted in a number of the females loving it. I mean, and good for Matt to do it the way he does it. I don't think I've ever seen that actually in my time watching The Bachelor, of some sort of group prayer. Normally it's a cheers and someone goes off, and that did happen, but good on him.
Yeah, and I couldn't help but think during all that. Obviously, that was a good moment. I want to say I think I have seen that in previous seasons. Maybe not the initial meeting with all of them, but I was thinking how many of these women, and there would definitely, I'm sure, be some didn't like that at all. Of course, they didn't show that, but I'm wondering how many didn't. And then I think that'd be funny TV if she was just like, "Oh my God, stop already!" in the middle of that. Imagine that'd be like, Matt, just get it over with. That'd be good TV. But there's no question. There's not all 32 women like that. I guarantee you. But of course, they didn't show it.
For sure. And after that prayer occurred, it seemed like every second word coming out of everyone's mouth was vulnerable, vulnerable, vulnerable. And this got me to thinking, if you're ever to play the Bachelor drinking game and you hear the word vulnerable, you take a drink, you would be Nikita Sloshnikov'd in about 45 minutes.
The last several episodes of The Bachelor that I've watched, many actually, I have not had a drink at all during it because I want to have a clear head to be able to have this scintillating commentary for these episodes. I don't want to forget stuff. And I find whenever I've had a few drinks, I don't know about you, I'm constantly on my phone and I'm just checking other stuff. And I'm distracted. I'm not in tune to the show. You seem to disagree completely. You are zoned in.
I've never taken a drink in my life.
Gotcha. Of course. Yes. Well, it's just water, obviously. But no, I haven't for a while. But if I were to actually have done that, vulnerable and clarity, they don't say clarity as much, I find, this season, though. I don't think they said that much. And walls down a little bit. But I'm a little disappointed. Some of the other expressions are going by the wayside a little bit. And I don't like that.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, maybe we'll see more come in. I'm sure we will see some more expressions come in as we get later into the season. It's been a fun episode 1 of Matt James' season, episode 6 here of the Bros Ceremony podcast. Adam Scully alongside Michael the Hound Dog Harrison. As we continue to discuss the ladies meeting Matt James for the first time, we mentioned the vibrator a little earlier in the show. The black box, blacking that out, that was hilarious. That would move up and down too. That's another subject in itself. But the vibrator coming into play, interrupting a sensitive story at one point. And then, as we mentioned earlier, Katie said, "I will let Mari borrow it."
Yeah, that's just like, wait, excuse me? I'm almost certain Mari would say, no, thank you on that one. But I don't know. I don't know the vibrator etiquette. Maybe that is fine with that. I'm not too familiar with it. So maybe I'm completely wrong in that assumption, but I just would assume, certainly it would have to be cleaned, but even then, I don't want to be touching that. No, that's my guess.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, that's a bit of a touchy subject.
Yes, exactly.
If you will, hardy har. As we go on now, one thing that really stood out to me, there are 2 Canadians on the program, Alana and Serena P., one of the younger contestants. She's 22 years old. And there's the, the talk that Canadians are so nicey. We're all just so nice. We say sorry all the time. And it seemed like Serena P was just giving advice to everyone. Like, good for her.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm almost certain she was one who was playing chess, I believe, which was cool because I love chess. I used to play it all the time back in the day.
Didn't know that about you.
Amazing game. I love it so much. Yeah, she was good. She seemed like a really cool, like you said, a really cool, fun person. But who is a Canadian? I'm putting you on the spot here. A couple seasons ago, that I think she was from Vancouver. That wasn't very well. Oh, McKenna.
Yes, nice.
Wow,
God, you're brilliant.
I honestly stunned that I remember, because I find like I'm invested in these women, or on The Bachelor, and these men, and watching them throughout the season. And then as soon as the season's over, I just completely forget about them, pretty much. I'm stunned that she wasn't a villain per se, McKenna, but she certainly wasn't loved. So usually with these women or men who go on the show, they're like, oh, yeah, like you said, you're Canadian, you're so nice. But we'll see if those two women actually end up being nice toward the end. But yeah, for sure, Serena certainly seemed like an absolute sweetheart.
She really did. Looking forward to seeing Serena as the season goes on. One of two Canucks on the show. Go Team Canada. Now, we mentioned Queen Victoria, and she was the only one to sort of stir the pot a little bit and go see Matt twice. But honestly, like, would you feel bad doing that? I sure as hell wouldn't.
I mean, I'm sure I probably wouldn't do that twice, just because I'd be like, it's probably not a good look or whatever. But at least the way they made it seem like, anyway, she was telling them, like, hey, like, go and talk to him. Like, what are you doing? Not talking to him. So yes, in that instance, if you are telling people to do that and then they're not doing it, well, of course, yeah, go see him a second time. The only, of course, other issue is there's obviously many, many women in the house. So there probably were other women who weren't in that conversation that did want to talk to Matt that weren't able to because of Queen Victoria. But again, though, if you have that nickname, you have to come in. You can't be a boring, docile person on the show. You got to come in guns a-blazing, and she did. I respect it so much. I thought it was very, very, very entertaining with her. So I hope she keeps it up.
I hope she keeps it up too. She is pure entertainment. As now we're getting closer to the rose ceremony, but one of Matt's last encounters before that was with Abigail. And clearly there was a great connection, and clearly you're brilliant, Michael, because you saw it coming, and it was instant connection with Matt and Abigail, which resulted in a kiss.
And the first impression rose, which was outstanding. Honestly, Abigail is just like the sweetest woman. She's a beautiful woman as well. And yeah, the first impression rose. I thought she was great. Really, really fascinating woman. And I love how the way they portrayed it, because I know years ago, going back to another reality show, Survivor, they had a hard of hearing woman on there, and they didn't, in my opinion, the way they sort of fumbled the way it was like, oh, she's like the typecast, like, woman who can't hear properly. It felt like they were trying to, like, I don't know how to describe it, but it felt like they weren't treating her as a normal person, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Whereas with Abigail, completely normal person. She happens to not be able to hear, but that doesn't define her. It doesn't matter. She's a great person and whatever. So I love the way they handled it. And she was awesome. She just, honestly, they didn't even show it. Normally when someone gets the first impression rose, of course they showed Matt walking with the rose to different rooms. And of course women are like, damn, it's not me. But normally they would have like people like super jealous and super mad that they didn't get the rose. But unless they didn't show it, of course, no, it was like, no, because she just seemed like a really sweet girl and it was great. They couldn't hate on Abigail because she's awesome. So I'm just so excited that I picked her before the season. I saw something in her and I think she's awesome. And as I said before, she loves golf, and hopefully we can go golfing, because that'd be cool.
I think that'd be really cool. I think we'll have her on the podcast, but it'll be a different form. It'll be a live on a golf course sort of thing. We'll have GoPros set up, and we'll essentially just do an interview for 4 hours while we play a round of golf, the three of us all together. Now, as we're getting into the rose ceremony here, 32 women, I believe it was, all in the mix. And there are some names that are a little similar. And, you know, it's always funny when they, or not funny, sometimes they go home, but where they cut to one of the contestants saying, oh, it would be heartbreaking to go home. I've done so much to be here, yada, yada, yada. And that was Anna, who they kept cutting to. Oh, yeah. And then so he's, Matt said Alana's name, but Anna thought, you say Alana or Anna? That was a bit of a mixed up there.
That's clearly like just so happens to be the production, as we've talked about before, how long those with Blake, how long those rose ceremonies go. Just so happens to be they put them right behind each other. So that mistake, excuse me, I'm too excited. That mistake, could have potentially happen. So they knew very well. Obviously, it's no surprise and no shocker that they happened to have that, because I thought it was pretty funny. Thankfully for Anna, she eventually did get a rose, because that would have been pretty soul crushing to think you got the name, you got picked, and then no bueno.
That would have been a tough loss. That's for sure. Now, okay, we go through the rose ceremony, and of course, all the viewers are on the edge of their seats. Queen V standing there. Is she going to go home? Of course she's not going to go home. No, of course not. Have you ever watched the show before?
Apparently not. Yeah, but
of course not.
But I will say this was one time where I figured, of course, she was not going to leave, but they're actually, for once, they somewhat got me into thinking, maybe she won't. Like there was a small tinge of me that actually thought she might have not stayed, but then I was like, no. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Clearly she's staying, obviously. So, yeah, back to my pick of Abigail before the season began. Obviously she was safe because she had the first impression rose. My other woman who I picked also is still in the game. She was great, Maggie. How'd your picks do before the season began? How'd your picks do?
My picks were okay. I was 1 for 2. I have Ileana, who had the ball comment, which we are wholeheartedly disagreeing. I'll have to go back and watch the tape, and we'll recap, and our listeners and viewers will tell us which one was correct and which one was wrong. I kind of have a feeling that I'm actually wrong now as I go through it.
I have the episode, like I can pull up on my PVR while you're talking. I should scroll through this episode live on this podcast and go and try to see if so is Ileana, is that her name? Yeah.
Ileana. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll keep discussing, and I'll try to do the multitasking. I'm pretty good at that.
Okay. And my other one, lady who I was quite fond of coming into, after reading all of the bios, all of the quick hitters that we did throughout episode 5 of the Bro Ceremony podcast, was Sine. And it seemed like they were vibing right off the hop too. I was like, okay, here we go. Sine, I need this for my picks for the Bro Ceremony. And then she just didn't get a rose. So yeah, hate to see that.
Didn't Sine, wasn't she the one who came in with goat slippers or something like that? Like she was the goat? Was that her? I'm almost certain it was her.
Yep, that was her.
Well, I guess that was her death knell right there.
Yeah. And then, in terms of the drama starters, obviously we both agreed on Queen Victoria being a drama starter or stirrer, stirring the pot, or if you will. And obviously that's going to go on given what happened in episode 1. Serena P was my other one. And that was Serena. We mentioned her earlier in the episode, 22 years old, from Canada, if you will. She's the opposite. She's just helping people out. She's being a good Canadian. So I think I was wrong, at least off the get-go, with my drama stir. How about you? Who was your poop disturber, if you will?
I wrote, I was pretty sure you picked Queen Victoria as your poop disturber, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm almost certain, because we were
I'm pretty sure we both agree that she would be one.
Right. I think I had Sydney, if I'm not mistaken,
yes.
actually.
Yes,
which,
you did, for sure.
If I'm not, I don't think she did anything that was overtly rude or mean or dramatic or whatever. To be honest with you, I can't even remember much of her. Of course, I remember seeing her a little bit, but not enough to where I can actually have a full breakdown on exactly what she's done. So I'm pretty sure she's probably not going to be the one that it looks like. It might be potentially Kit, I believe her name is, with the outfit that she had, that some women were like, nah. She could definitely be that person. And obviously Queen Victoria seems very much like that as well.
Yeah, she sure does. And we mentioned Queen Victoria there. And, generally when one of the ladies or guys, depending on what the season is, get a rose, it's a, walk up, thank you, a hug, a whole heart, a good moment. But what did Queen Victoria do? Thank you, my king.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. What?
Well, speaking of which, I'm glad you brought that up, because I had forgot about this. I think it was Kit, because I just mentioned her a minute ago. I think she was saying, because she didn't like Victoria, she was saying, like, I'm the king CEO, and what'd she say again? I'm the king CEO and president.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
And it's like, honestly, that line was pretty lame to me. I was like, okay, like, you're trying to be cool and funny with that line. It's falling flat on to me. I just don't think it's as good as you had intended it to be. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it sort of fell on our face a little bit, if you will. It's been interesting. It's always great. Social media can be entertaining. It can be bad. It can be whatever you want it to be. But people on social media think Kit and Bennett. They think that's quite a connection there. There's a 15-year age gap, of course, which is something. But
What's
just
the
in terms
rationale?
of personality and emotional intelligence and all that intelligence that Bennett was saying to Noah back in The Bachelorette, I don't know. That'd be a bit of a weird combo.
That just seems. I think he's 36 and she's 21, I believe. So yeah, like
That's
you said,
15 years.
15
There
year
you
difference. There you go. Quick math there, right? Pretty good. That's just okay. I don't understand that, but she's still on the show right now. So in theory, you'd think she'd want to be with him. I don't know. By the way, I wrote down, I don't know who said this. There's a woman who said the word pressureful. This is a very pressureful experience or whatever. That's not a word. That's not a word at all. So when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, just stop. That's not a word. Pressureful.
Yeah, definitely not a word. Now, before we wrap here, I'd be remiss to mention as well.
Did you say remissa? It's remissa.
I need to mention this breakup, this Bachelor breakup. I'm just going to ignore what you just said. Bachelor breakup occurred. The last Bachelor before Matt James, Peter Weber and Kelly, they broke up around the holiday season too. We're seeing a lot of Bachelor breakups around the holiday season.
Well, I mean, I guess that's sort of when you're hopefully not. Hopefully you weren't seeing your in-laws and your family members during Christmas because you were being smart with COVID. But yeah, I'm assuming obviously the prevailing thought on social media, of course, was that it was Barb, Peter's mom, who was very much in his business last season with who he was picking at the end of that season. So that doesn't totally surprise me. Not because of Peter and Kelly, but because of Barb, his mom, who, by the way, who I said needs to get on her own reality show because she was outstanding.
She definitely was outstanding. All the best to Peter and Kelly. Already some rumors that Peter would absolutely flourish on Paradise. We'll see. Hopefully Paradise can happen. I know you're not liking that thought, but
he's okay. He's fine.
Before we wrap, how's your PVR going here? Are you making any progress? Or
I'm going through all the women. Actually, I'm going through Anna right now. I am very much close to, I believe, Ileana here, pretty much getting there. By the way, we were talking about picks earlier. Do you want to switch your picks now that we've seen an episode? I love my Abigail one. I'm not switching from that at all. My Maggie one, pretty good, but I have another one, a woman who I think I would probably switch to. Would you like to switch?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for giving me the option to switch. I sincerely appreciate that. Ileana I'm still going to keep. I think there is a vibe between Matt and Ileana for sure. I'm just going to take a look here at the ladies, who I thought Katie had the vibrator. She's going to make it far, but I don't think she's maybe. Oh yes, I have another pick. You ready?
Sure.
Rachel. 24 from Georgia. I think there was a connection. She was the one who sort of got choked up and emotional after the group prayer before all the ladies got to formally meet Matt in a one-on-one setting, sitting down, etc. Rachel and Ileana are my two picks to make some noise this season on the 25th edition of The Bachelor.
Okay, I'm really close to this PVR. By the way, Rachel, I like the lookalikes. I think that they're really funny to some of that looks. She looks like Mila Kunis. What do you think about that?
Oh, wow. The pop culture reference from Michael?
Hey, look,
what's happened to you? Is this the same guy I'm speaking to?
No, completely different person. I'm a man of few talents. Those talents are pretty good. They're usually few talents. But for some reason, I got this one.
As you continue to look forward on your PVR to try to prove who was right and who was wrong, we are now just about 6 episodes in to the Bros ceremony. A spur of the moment idea. We had a text exchange and we thought, why not? We can do it. Why not? We've really enjoyed all the feedback we've received. We're at over 240 followers now on Instagram. Some of our clips are getting 1,500 views on Instagram, YouTube. Our subscribers are climbing steadily. We're getting great views on YouTube as well. If you have any feedback, things you want to hear, things you don't want to hear, you only want to see Michael wearing the beige jacket, you want to see me wearing a fluorescent red jacket, let us know. You can tweet us at Bros Ceremony Pod. You can like us on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, comment on any of our picks. Our DMs are certainly open, and we are open to any feedback to make this show from good to great. And it seems like, Michael, that you're getting closer on the PVR here. This is excellent podcasting right here. Good thing we're on camera and not just an audio podcast.
Yeah,
that would not make any sense.
I might play myself on that one. The reason why it took so long was because I had a list of all the women who arrived on the seat out of the limos, but I was looking through for Ileana, but I had looked at the list of women who got roses. I was looking at that list. So obviously it wasn't the same order of a women. So I'm like, okay, I should get that within a minute or two, but I was looking at the wrong list essentially. So I sincerely apologize for that one there, Adam. By the way, other lookalikes, not just that. I wrote down Katie, the vibrator girl. Christina from Bachelor in Paradise. What do you think about that?
Oh, let me open up. Oh, yeah. You know what? That's a very, it's like we rehearsed this show because when I was watching, I actually had that written down too. I didn't even mention it. Yeah. Very similar vibes. Christina and Katie. There was someone else on Peter's season as well that I can't think of her name at this particular moment. She caused some drama too. Too many pucks at my brain in my day. Clearly, I forgot that name. As well as how is the PVR progress? Are we there yet, or should I still?
It's here. No, we're here.
Okay.
Ileana.
This is thrilling podcasting here.
Oh, can't hear, I'm sure, but can you hear that?
Can I put your balls in my mouth?
So far away. Yeah, she said, "Can I put my balls in your mouth?"
What did I say?
I said, and she said, "Can I put my balls in your mouth?" Which was the funny part because it was but you said the opposite. Yeah.
You win. I lose. Story of my life. Michael's the winner. Adam's the loser. You hate to see that. But before we wrap here on episode 6 of the Bros Ceremony, of course, Michael, you are the host of the H Dog Pod. You recently had your landmark, your historic, your milestone 50th episode 51. Who's coming up?
I have, because the NFL playoffs were just this past weekend, Davis Sanchez, for a 13-year NFL player, a couple of years in the NFL, 11 years in the CFL, TSN analyst, works with TSN Edge as well. I had him on the podcast, and we discussed at length the Seattle Seahawks and all the different games this week or whatever. His career as well. Very fascinating career. He didn't start playing football until he was 16 years old. And then he was a 13-year football player, professional football player. That's incredible. He didn't start till he was 16 and he became that good. That's really cool. So we delved into all that, and he was outstanding and such an awesome dude. And we had him on the podcast, and he was great. And yeah, we talked about the NFL games that were this last weekend. So, and also I might add, completely unrelated to that, because I was able to get this thing correct, I should get an extra woman that I could choose for the pool. I'm going to pick Sarah. Sarah is a broadcast journalist. I think she's going to do great as well.
Just making up your own rules on the spot. But you know what? I respect that. I really do. I said what I did with ferocity. I really believed because I'm pretty truthful when I write things down, but I was flat out wrong. So, but
Not
you know what?
vulnerable.
Michael, episode 2 of The Bachelor goes tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you're in the Eastern time zone on ABC, or here in Toronto, Canada on City TV. I know a lot of people watch it the next day.
You said Toronto, Canada. You say Toronto, Canada on purpose to bug me there?
Maybe.
Toronto, Ontario. It's Toronto, Ontario. Like it'll be Los Angeles, California, not Los Angeles, America. It's not Toronto, Canada. It's Toronto, Ontario. God.
One of my great passions in life is making Michael's blood boil. That's something that really makes me giggle. I love when he shakes his head. He just rolls his eyes at me. He's like, what are you even doing? Anyway, episode 6 of the Bros Ceremony. This has been an absolute blast. Some very exciting stuff potentially coming up in the next couple of weeks. I know you're excited. I'm certainly very excited. Our viewers, you should also be incredibly pumped for this. Some upcoming guests, and who knows, some other extravagant things on the way here for Team Bros Ceremony. We are 6 episodes in the book. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram and on Twitter. We are back every Monday to recap all things Bachelor Nation. For Michael the Hound Dog Harrison, I'm Adam Scully. We'll see you next time right here on the Bros Ceremony.